You want some good news? Guess it's not good news. So I pulled the motor mounts out, and guess what I found out? Some days are, how's Neil Diamond say? Some days are diamond, some days are stone. Is that how that goes? So we are trying to figure out the specifics of mounting our electric motor in here, and one of the things I needed to do was determine how to utilize this system to be able to support it. Now, there used to be some motor mounts in here for the big diesel motor, which is what these big rusty spots are you see right here. And I took those out because they're basically useless to me with the electric motor. So one of the things that I discovered when I took off these motor mounts is this. So I have a whole bunch of rotted wood going on in here that is just coming apart. So we have to decide what we're going to do about it and how we're going to deal with that. Rot's going to appear sometimes in places where you don't think it will be. I had no idea that it would be here. When we first bought this boat, it had been sitting for almost 9 months after Hurricane Harvey. We had water in here probably up to here. And so it was completely over this part of the motor mount right here. And it was going up underneath, up into the bilge, quite a ways back. That is probably how this stringer got filled with water to the point where it started to rot. Now the upper part is fine. The upper part is good and firm. Anywhere where the wood is nice and firm and solid. So we're going to go ahead today and cut this open and just see how bad it really is. One of the challenges we have with just leaving it, burying our head in the sand, is a possibility that as this wood continues to rot and decay, it is likely to start smelling pretty bad. For some reason, my wife doesn't like odors either. I like to keep my wife happy and as odor-free as possible. So
you like to keep your wife as odor-free as possible?
That can go in the blooper section. I like my wife to be odor-free. There's the stringer. You can see the water in that thing when I dig at it. That's quite a bit of guck and yuck that I can dig out. It's actually pretty hard. Down in spots below just so the rot may not have sunk too deep, which is good for us. This looks pretty good up here though. That's not too bad at all. Okay, so it looks like it's fairly localized for us, which is good, to where that lower top hole was in the motor mount. And I've gotten a bunch of it out. I'm down into more brown wood right there. I think we're going to just let that dry out for a while. Maybe I'll drill a couple holes down below just to help it dry out, and then we'll put something like this in here. This is something I've used quite a bit. Rot Fix System 3. It's a 2-part epoxy, flows like water. You can actually use it on damp wood, but it's helpful to take a drill bit and drill some holes in this wood, and then when you pour this stuff in, it'll go into those holes and it'll spread through the wood a little bit, soak in, and it'll make it actually harder than regular wood. It completely seals the wood in, just like you're epoxying it in. So we'll go ahead probably and put some of that in there, and that'll stop that problem from happening. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So Tuesday's Tech Tips with Todd. Hopefully that's helpful to you. Hopefully that gives you some things to look for in your own boat or situation. I actually saw them using something very similar to this in Alaska on old cabins, log cabins that were built back in the pioneer days in the 30s and 20s and stuff up in Alaska. And they would just gouge out the chunks of the log and they would pour this stuff in there, and then they take like a Bondo substance and rebuild the log. And that's how they would restore some of those historic cabins. So it's a pretty good product, and I think you'll find it useful to know that you can actually do that with wood. See you later. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check back next Tuesday for another tech tip from Todd.